Okay, I'm back. This is like the third attempt at this, so that's the small brush. I don't think this is a small brush, but we're gonna work on the dragon. But working for both Presidents Obama and Trump, I've watched how toxic partisan politics can be, standing in the way of getting things done. I'm running because we have to do better, like stopping insurance companies from gaming our system, protecting Medicare, and lowering the cost of medications, and guaranteeing the free market gives us choices in our care. I'll work with Democrats, Republicans, and the president when they're right, and stand up to any party leader when they're wrong. I'm Cameron Webb, and that's why I approve this message. Look at that small brush.
Across Central Virginia, denied voter registrars are bracing for a round of last-minute changes ahead of the presidential election. But with only 60 days to go, some election officials are concerned because they can't find absentee drop boxes to buy. Others are on tight deadlines to get things printed. Henry Graff has the story.
Richmond's voter registrar says her office has to stuff and prepare at least 13,000 absentee ballots to be in the mail on September 18th when absentee voting begins. But with no details on drop box specifications or locations, Kirk Showalter is concerned with the clock ticking.
Most of the vendors who make drop boxes have sold out already. So there's the issue of even finding them to have, and then also determining the locations of where they'll be.
Last week, state lawmakers in the House and Senate paved the way for a new requirement ahead of the 2020 presidential election. Absentee drop boxes. Absentee voting or early voting is expected to dramatically increase with COVID-19 pandemic concerns.
It's like trying to turn the Queen Mary on a dime. You've got Queen Mary steaming full head, and then making a change can be difficult, and especially changes this close to election.
Other voter registrars like Houston's Hargrove and Chesterfield County are getting creative, using ballot bags with an officer manning them to make sure no one walks off with your vote.
We already have them, and in order to put up ballot boxes, you need to put up security, you have to put up cameras, you need to really secure them both into the ground, and that just wasn't going to happen in the time period that we had to get this time. So it just made more sense to use what we had.
Hanover County's voter registrar ordered drop boxes even before lawmakers began talks with mail delay concerns. Hers are under 24-hour surveillance. Henrico County's voter registrar says he's found some companies with drop boxes, but is hesitant to buy them without any guidance yet from the Virginia Department of Elections. Meanwhile, back in Richmond, Showalter just hopes have enough time.
It is a big challenge. Somehow we always do make it work and figure it out. That was Henry Graff reporting. Tree sitters continue to block the path of the Mountain Valley Pipeline in Montgomery County 2 years after their protest started there. It was September 5th, 2018, when pipeline opponents first climbed into the trees along Yellowfinch Lane near Elliston. Today there are 3 platforms suspended high above the project right-of-way.
To be able to sustain something like this for this long, again, it takes community support. And I believe that community support is very real.
Mountain Valley Pipeline has requested a 2-year extension to complete the project, but opponents say their tree sit and other resistance will continue.
Danville city leaders are laying their cards on the table for a new casino in Virginia. The city inked an agreement with Caesars Entertainment yesterday. The $400 million investment will turn into $38 million annually in tax revenue to the city. City leaders say the company or the money can immediately go to improving schools or building a new police headquarters. Supporters of the deal say it could also bring more than 1,000 jobs.
It's going to have really
That sounds like that's more important.
on our ability to provide services to our community and really make a difference for our people.
The casino is not a done deal yet. Danville citizens have to vote on the issue in a special referendum in November.
This
is no ordinary sale. This is Schultz Homes' famous Labor Day sale, with astounding savings of not 40%, not 45%, not even 50%, but 52% off the comparable value price on furniture and mattresses. Amazing buy store-wide. Sofa and love seat sets, $5.99. Three-piece queen bedrooms, $6.48. Take an extra 15% off the lowest tag price on appliances, electronics, and power equipment. Plus no down payment, no payments till January 2021. Don't miss Schultz Homes' Labor Day sale, going on now.
Finding an appropriate facility for a loved one is a real challenge. When I found the cottages and evaluated it, I decided for my family it was the right choice for us. Rooms are private, of good size with big windows and good outside views. Each resident is recognized as a unique person, and their care is very tailored to what they enjoy doing. For me, the cottages was the right choice. I think you'll be impressed.
NBC 29 HD News at 5 and 5:30. Count on it.
The only way to get our economy back on track is to get COVID under control. That means following the science, so we can reopen our businesses and schools safely. The President says, if we don't reopen our schools, safe or not, they'll cut off funds.
So we're very much going to put pressure on governors and everybody else to open the schools.
That's right. And why leading some fight to make sure schools get the funding they need? Let's let local officials and parents decide what's best for our kids. I'm Mark Warner, and I approve this message.
Particularly tonight.
There's a killer on the list.
TikTok. Fox Day.
Look how apparently this is.
What's that?
We.
Particularly tonight, 10 Central.
And you have to remember the thing about painting is the lines. So I try to paint from the lines out or from the lines down. And it just really kind of depends on the location of the dragon. Now see, it's okay for the light colors to bleed into the dark colors, because you can cover up the light colors with the dark colors. It is not okay for the dark colors to go to where the light colors are, because you can't bleed out the dark colors. Yeah.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. Nightly News is next.
So that's why you take the thin brush and you go in where the lines are.
President Trump and the troops.
Yeah.
The president denying a bombshell report he called America's fallen service members, quote, losers and suckers. A correspondent inside the Oval Office asking the president, does he owe an apology? And Joe
If that's
Biden
true, he does owe an apology.
disgusting, and evoking his late son, saying though Biden served in Iraq, he was no sucker. Now the network exclusive with Michael Cohen, the president's former lawyer.
Yeah, after hearing that, any veteran that supports Trump, man, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Protesters and police clashing after that video of police restraining Daniel Prude, who later died. The police union now defending the officers. The man suspected of shooting a Trump supporter in Portland, killed in a hail of gunfire. The interview with his final words. The dire new warning this Labor Day weekend. Over 400,000 COVID deaths projected by January. New fears holiday crowds may trigger another surge. Our NBC News exclusive behind the scenes with the TSA, their new security upgrades. And in the same boat, the unlikely team-up inspiring America.
This is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Good evening, I'm Jose Diaz-Balart in for Lester Holt. We begin tonight with the firestorm of President Trump over comments he's accused of making about America's fallen heroes. The president today forcefully denying a report that he called service members killed at war losers and suckers. His opponent, Joe Biden,
God, I hope he didn't say that.
and demanding an apology. A
Peter Decker was in the Oval Office today and asked the president about the controversy. President Trump tonight firing back after that explosive report alleging he made disparaging comments about military members.
Sir, do you need to apologize to service members and veterans?
No, it was a fake story written by a magazine that is probably not going to be around much longer.
The president responding to the Atlantic report that he rejected a 2018 trip to an American cemetery in France. Saying, why should I go to that cemetery? It's filled with losers. And calling the Marines buried there suckers for getting killed. The story cites 4 people with first-hand knowledge, but does not name them. And NBC News has not independently confirmed the details. The White House says the trip was scratched because bad weather made it unsafe for Marine One to fly. Tonight, Joe Biden, whose late son Beau served in Iraq, with this furious response.
When my son volunteered to join the United States military as the Attorney General, went to Iraq for a year, won the Bronze Star and other commendations, he wasn't a sucker.
Condemning the president's reported comments.
Who the heck does he think he is?
While a parade of current and former White House officials rushed to the president's defense, he's made derogatory comments in public on camera about service and sacrifice in the past. Candidate Trump attacking John McCain, a former Vietnam POW, who lost the 2008 presidential election.
I never liked him as much after that, because I don't like losers. He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you.
The president last night falsely claiming he never called McCain a loser, while taking credit for approving ceremonial honors for McCain's funeral. President Trump today under pressure praising all those who served.
There's nobody that considers the military, and especially people that have given their lives in the military, to be their heroes.
You want backpedaling, son of a bitch. I'm sorry.
Today from his former lawyer. Sorry, Jose, that's right. Michael Cohen is a fierce critic of President Trump, who he worked for years, now set to publish a new book. He spoke today with Lester.
Do you think he'll win another term as president?
But Donald Trump will do anything and everything within which to win. And I believe that includes manipulating the ballots. I believe that he would even go so far as to start a war in order to prevent himself from being removed from office. My biggest fear is that there will not be a peaceful transition of power in 2020.
The White House tonight says Michael Cohen's book is fiction and that Cohen readily admits to lying routinely. Jose?
Here, Alexander at the White House. Thank you. And you can see more of Lester's exclusive interview with Michael Cohen Tuesday here on Nightly News. Another tense night expected in Rochester, New York, after protesters angry over the death of Daniel Prude clashed with police. The police union coming out today and defending the 7 officers who have been suspended. Kathy Park is it.
Tensions running high in Rochester, New York, over the arrest and death of Daniel Prude. Today, the police union defended the actions of its members after 7 officers involved in the incident were suspended Thursday with pay.
There is substantial amount of evidence to show why the protocols that they used were done.
Following a second night, the calls for justice and the mayor and police chief to step down. Protesters clashed with police. At one point, the standoff turning tense with barricades shot and pepper spray deployed. 8 people were arrested and 2 officers injured. The unrest sparked by this police body camera footage released this week by Prude's family attorney and Black Lives Matter activist. The incident from March shows Prude naked, being restrained with handcuffs, and later a spit hood is placed over his head because police say Prude told them he had COVID-19. The police union says use of the shield followed procedure.
This is what the officers are given.
Shortly after officers press Prude's face into the ground, he becomes unresponsive. The 41-year-old died a week later after being taken off life support. Prude's daughter described the trauma of watching the arrest.
See that video and see my father in a state of helplessness where he was complying and wasn't giving anybody a hard time was in need of help, it's devastating, and I want justice. I want these officers charged with murder.
And Kathy joins us now from Rochester. Kathy, are there more protests expected tonight?
Jose, there are, and that's why officers have placed barricades around police headquarters. A site of protests over the last 2 nights, and demonstrators say that it will continue to be out here until all the officers involved in the arrest are fired. Jose?
Kathy Block in Rochester, New York. Thank you. A new development in another case that sparked national outrage over police violence. Jacob Blake seen publicly for the first time since an officer's bullets left him paralyzed in Kenosha, Wisconsin, less than 2 weeks ago. Blake, appearing in court via Zoom from his hospital bed, pleaded not guilty to a sexual assault charge going back to May. Also tonight, the deadly takedown of a man who fatally shot a Trump supporter during the unrest in Portland. The suspect killed by officers hours after he appeared to confess in an interview. Miguel Almaguer with more, but a warning, the video is graphic.
This is crazy.
Moments after the shooting, which witnesses described as a hail of gunfire, a law enforcement officer appears to attempt to revive Michael Rynell.
They're doing CPR on him.
Wanted for murder, the 48-year-old was killed by a fugitive task force trying to apprehend him in Washington State. The U.S. Marshal's Office says Rynell produced a firearm, though it's unclear if he tried to shoot. A self-proclaimed anti-fascist activist, Rynell had been a fixture at protests in Portland, Oregon, which on many nights turned violent. Police say last week, Rynell was with demonstrators who squared off with a caravan of pro-Trump activists. Hours after the clashes, investigators say Rynell shot and killed Aaron Danielson, part of a pro-Trump group.
This is what's going to change gun control forever.
In an interview with Vice News, Rynell appeared to admit to the killing, claiming self-defense, though the police are not connecting the shooting to the protests.
I felt that my life and other people around me's lives were in danger. And I felt like I had no choice but to do what I did.
With Rynell dead, the U.S. Attorney General says the streets of our cities are safer. But tonight in Portland, the opposite may be true, as police prepare for another night of volatile protests after 2 deaths from demonstrators on opposite sides. Miguel Almaguer, NBC News.
And there is some positive economic news tonight. 1.4 million jobs added in August, with the unemployment rate dropping to 8.4%. But as Jolene Ken explains, behind the numbers, millions of American families are still struggling.
Just kidding. It's a PB&J on a hot dog bun.
The pandemic has turned Kelly Newman's life upside down. The attorney and mother of 6 with immunocompromised kids was forced to leave her job, fearing exposure to COVID-19. Now, living on her unemployment and her wife's teacher's salary, they canceled internet and depend on public assistance for fruits and vegetables.
After having made such a huge investment in educational debt, I never imagined that I would also be in this financial position.
She's one of 5.2 million people who were unable to look for work last month due to the pandemic. While unemployment dropped more than expected to 8.4%, it's still nearly triple pre-pandemic levels.
I think somebody's tweaking the numbers.
4 million jobs added, 250,000 are temporary for the U.S. Census, and black unemployment is almost double white unemployment. It's been more than a month since the extra $600 a week unemployment benefit ended, and most states have not seen the extra $300 a week from the president's stopgap executive order. Bipartisan negotiations have stalled. Today, Trump's top economic advisor said a new relief package is not necessary.
Right now, the economy is on a self-sustaining recovery path, in my judgment.
There are some lawmakers saying that, look, we believe that maybe people are going back to work because that incentive to stay on unemployment is no longer there.
People are saving their money, but what about when that money runs out?
Meanwhile, Kelly Newman can't head back to work with her kids going to school from home.
Even if I had an opportunity to work from home, there's no way it could happen. I cannot tell you how very much I want to return to work.
While this job support is a step in the right direction. Permanent job losses surged by another 500,000 to its highest level since 2013. Jose?
Jolene Kemp, thank you. We are back in 60 seconds with the dire new COVID prediction. How many lives the U.S. could lose by the end of the year?
People came and they felt comfortable. It's what we did with food. You felt safe, and if you were safe, you could be joyful. Everybody has a cookies, and almost half those small businesses, they get closed if people don't do something. We have to keep our communities together. That's how we get through this.
Ta-da! Did you know Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need?
Given my unique lifestyle, that'd be perfect. Let me grab a pen and some paper. You know what? I'm gonna switch now. Just need my desk, my chair, and my phone. Only pay for what you need. Liberty, 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 liberty. Health officials are warning about COVID and crowds this holiday weekend as a new report predicts U.S. virus deaths could be more than double by year's end. Here's Kerry Sanders.
In Southern California, fears a Labor Day weekend heat wave predicted to hit 107 degrees may drive massive crowds to the beach.
This weekend, pretty sure we'll be in the water probably 90% of the time. It's the only way to stay cool.
The numbers have gone down drastically, and I'm not worried by it at all.
But experts fear complacency. Without vigilant mask wearing, a dire new report predicts 410,000 Americans could die from COVID by the end of the year. That's more than double the current death rate.
You have a big test coming for this Labor Day weekend.
A test health officials say some are already failing. Overnight, near the University of South Carolina, police closing down a packed bar. During the July 4th long weekend in much of the country, Americans dropped their guard at beaches, lakes, swimming pools, and beyond. 2 weeks after Independence Day, coronavirus cases increased dramatically nationwide. 50% in California, 67%
Hopefully
in
when this
Texas,
dries, it'll actually be
78%
great.
in Florida. Today on Miami Beach, where a busy weekend is expected, $50 fines for those violating COVID rules.
It could be hard, but it's what it does, honestly.
Increasingly, an understanding. Prevention only works if everyone plays by the rules.
Yeah, that seems like the right thing to do.
Over 100 daily cases now compared to the beginning of summer.
20,000, which is more than double, say, going into Memorial Day weekend, is why this beach and others will be closed beginning tomorrow, won't reopen until Tuesday. Jose?
Kerry Sanders in Palm Beach, Florida, thank you. More Americans are traveling by air this weekend than have in months. And tonight, a new look at TSA upgrades to safeguard against COVID. Tom Costello reports.
Back at airport checkpoints today,
Pull out your ID, pull down your mask, please.
the biggest flow of passengers since the pandemic began. 900,000 travelers nationwide, but still more than 1 million fewer travelers than a year ago. Airport terminals, concourses, and ticket counters remain eerily quiet.
And that one right here?
Passengers that do travel will notice big changes at TSA checkpoints. Social distancing markers on the floor, plexiglass to separate officers and passengers, and new self-service kiosks for touchless check-in that automatically compare photo IDs with the airline's trip information. Here's how it works. You slide your driver's license into the reader. It automatically then takes a look at your photograph and scans your face to make sure the photograph matches. It then matches your photograph with your flight reservation on file, and you're good to go. Admiral David Pekoski is the TSA chief.
As soon as I removed that driver's license from the machine, all the image data was removed.
You're not holding on to it. You're not saving anybody's information.
No.
Despite a 75% drop in passenger traffic, the TSA reports the ratio of gun confiscations per traveler has tripled, and 80% of the guns are loaded. Most passengers claim they simply forgot their gun was in a bag. But the first offense comes with a
That's true.
fine of up to
It can happen.
$1,400.
You can forget that your gun's in the bag.
Possibility of local criminal charges. The TSA
Yeah, that's
expects
not right.
passenger volume will pick up next year, though the CEO of United says getting back to normal will depend on widespread vaccinations.
We're modeling it as if we're not back to normal. We're not back to 2019 levels until 2024. But that's just a guess.
In the meantime, the TSA is upgrading its CT scanners to get a better view inside carry-on bags without requiring hand checks. And new software in the full body scanners to reduce the need for pat-downs, trying to make the checkpoint experience touchless. Tom Costello, NBC News, Washington.
And so ahead, a reality check. Are Americans fleeing large cities?
I'm Susan, and I'm 52, and I live in San Francisco, California. I have been a sales and sales management professional my whole career. Typical day during the work week is I'm working. At first, always going for a run or going to the gym. Love reading. I love cooking healthy. It's super important to me. I was noticing that I was just having some memory loss. It was really bothering me. So I tried Prevagen, and it started to work for me. I wish I had taken Prevagen 5 or 10 years ago.
Prevagen, healthier brain, better life. When you need your bank, Capital One's top-rated app is right here. So you can check your balance, deposit checks, pay bills, or transfer money. When you don't need your bank, put it here. That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Managing type 2 diabetes? Audrey's on it. Eating right and staying active?
On it.
Audrey thinks she's doing all she can to manage
All right.
type 2 diabetes and heart disease, but is just
So,
not doing enough to lower her heart
for the now,
Maybe not.
I'm done painting.
Reduce the risk of cardiovascular
My back is killing me.
You also have known heart disease, so it could help save your life from a heart attack or stroke.
Right there.
And it lowers A1C.
Jardiance can cause serious side effects, including dehydration, genital yeast or urinary tract infections, and sudden kidney problems. Ketoacidosis is a serious side effect that may be
You guys like it.
bacterial infection and the skin can be removed for care. Stop taking Jardiance and call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of this bacterial infection, ketoacidosis, or an allergic reaction.
So,
And don't take
enter Prospect Park. Not going to use it. But I think you guys might like it. So, I still have to do more. But for now, I'm tired. So I'm not going to do any more. Just going to set that thing right there for a minute. And I'm going to stop recording and do something to eat.